everyone, Miss Chris here. Welcome back to my sewing channel. This is a great place for kids to learn how to sew, for kids and grown-ups to do projects together, or if you already know how to sew, it's a great place to pick up some tips and tricks and fun new projects along the way. Today we're going to talk about the backstitch. Now the backstitch is a fun stitch to learn because it has both practical and decorative purposes. We'll talk about the practical purposes in a later video, but today I want to show you how to do the decorative backstitch, which is a lot of fun. So come on in a little bit closer and let's get started. Okay, let's take a look at some different situations where we might want to use the backstitch. This little tendril right here is a backstitch, and the vein down the middle of the leaf right here is also a backstitch. I used a backstitch to do these little stems for the flowers and also for the veins and tendrils of this little leaf set. So unlike the running stitch that you can see right here, where it has a stitch space in between each stitch, the running stitch is more of a solid line. The backstitch is more of a solid line. So let's go ahead and do the backstitch. Now we're going to start from the back of the work, working back to front, and we're going to start as though we were doing a running stitch. So we're going to make one stitch. So we've got our knot on the back, and I've come out from the back of my work. And then we're going to go back up again like I was going to complete another running stitch, but in this case I'm going to go back, hence the name backstitch, and go back through this same little hole. And now I've got two stitches that are joined together sharing this same hole. And so now here is where we're going to kind of start a little pattern. We're going to go 2 steps forward. So I'm counting each stitch space a step. So we've got 2 spaces or 2 steps, 2 steps forward, and then I'm going to go back in that little hole, 1 step back for the back stitch. And on the back of my work, I'm going to go 2 steps forward. So I'm going to count that as 1 step, and then the space in between here as another one, and 1 step back. 2 steps forward, and 1 step back. Now as you're going, like always, the more you practice, the better you'll get, and your little stitches will be straight and even. And sometimes you don't want them to be straight because, like in the example of my little tendrils, they were swirly. And so in that case, you can either choose to draw a design on your cloth, your fabric, whatever you're sewing on, your felt, or you can just imagine it, which is what I did. And I just kind of stitched and went the direction that I wanted to go, and I ended up with a little swirly. So there you go. And this is what the back will look like. And you can see I even got some little loopies back there, and that's fine. And then you're just going to go ahead and tie off like you always do by making a loop under here. And if you happen to miss my first videos on how to thread a needle, knot a needle, what kinds of floss and needles and materials you will need, I will go ahead and link those videos down below. There you go. So a couple things I want you to remember is, first, practice, 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 because the more you practice, the more even your stitches will get. And the second is, as you're going along, if your stitches are not perfect, remember that yours is going to look different than everybody else's, because that's part of the artistic process. So don't get discouraged and just keep going. And I hope to see you back here next time.